Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. Today we're going to talk about PMSing. So guys, if you're listening, you may want to skip over this one, or maybe you want to learn something. Either way, the choice is yours and you get to decide, but you have been warned. So let's get right into it, ladies and possibly gents. Anyways, so this came up because I realized something over the years, and I'm going to start back from further back. And further back goes like early 20s and even teenage years. I found I was super moody, super mood swingy, super just everything you could say. So if you Google PMS, it has a list of symptoms. And of course, like PMS is short for premenstrual syndrome. So it's actually a thing. Growing up, I wasn't sure what that was. It was something we threw around. I thought at one point, I'll get more into that. Like, thought it was just an excuse. We just used it as an excuse and things like that. If you Google it, there's a whole list. Anyways, I had a lot of those growing up. Huge. And a big one, though, was mood swings, like severe, crazy, bite your head off mood swings. And then I hit about 25. That's when my life changed. I was really focusing inward. I was taking care of my body, my mind, just my joy. I was focusing more on me. I was looking inward so much more. And that's when things started to change. I wasn't getting any symptoms of PMS. Like my period show up and I'm like, oh, you're happening today. Like, cool. So a huge shift. And I got to a point where I actually was like, well, is PMS, because back then I didn't look up what PMS symptoms were or anything like that. I was just like, oh, well, that was something I just made up. Or I guess we just hide behind these symptoms when we just don't want to deal with the world or, just anything. Or we have a really bad day and we take it out on people like, oh, don't worry, I'm just PMSing. I really thought it was an excuse. Now, I'm not saying it is. But at that point, at my 25, 26, 27, 28, and further on, I just was like, oh, because I was taking care of me, nothing was showing up. Not a thing. And then I had kids, and even through that, I was, pretty good. And then recently, I've been having some symptoms again. A lot of them has to do with the mood swings. I could tell you without looking at my calendar and things like that when it's going to happen, because I can feel it coming on, and then different symptoms are showing up as well. And I was like, what is going on? So I wasn't about blaming my body or anything like that, but it made me pause. Like, what is showing up? Like, I went probably a decade or more without having these symptoms show up. So I was like, what is going on with me? Like, why now kind of thing? And I realized my self-care hasn't been as consistent as it was. And it's just kind of all over the map. Like, yes, I take time for me, but I might not be filling up all my buckets all of the time. And it's just, added stress and things like that. And it really puts us out of whack. So what I realized is this past year, my relationship with myself has changed. Just like all the other relationships in my life, right? Like now I'm talking on the phone with my parents instead of seeing them in person and video chatting, all those things. Like, and even down the line, like that's going to be my new norm because I live so far away from them now. And my life has changed over the past year. So I've been trying to rebalance and figure things out. And honestly, I haven't had as much time with myself as I normally do. Like normally I have like a good chunk of a day to myself and things like that. And that's just not my norm right now. So my PMS is a reminder of that. I haven't been sleeping as well. The added stress has just made this like perfect brew for my emotions to cook and boil over. And really, honestly, I've been putting myself second. So this, again, isn't a judgment thing. It's about realizing that's happening. It's a happening thing. Life happens. And it's like, oh, these are fun moments in our lives to just be mindful. When something feels off kilter or something is different than it used to be, just something's just off. It's a good time to hit that pause button and be like, whoa, Like, what is going on? And really just be mindful of that because it's showing up for a reason. And if you find yourself here, it's okay. I'm here with you figuring it out and how to get back to my PMSing free life as well. And I really do know it all starts with loving myself more. It really does. And it is so crazy. So what I've decided is PMSing stands for putting yourself second, or putting you second. And it's really just taking a step back. So I am not belittling any symptoms of PMSing. All I'm saying is, for me personally, I've realized that the more self-care, the more nurturing you give yourself, the more love you give yourself, the more you focus on your self-love, the less these symptoms show up. They really do. And that's like for everything, right? Like just eating better balanced foods. Like maybe you haven't been eating that either. Like maybe it's just like throw it together and eat because it's just too stressful right now to deal with any of the other things. And that's totally okay. None of this is ever about beating yourself up for having something. But in my personal experience, I've realized that the more I focus on me, my self-care, meditating, huge, huge, huge for me, and my mental health, huge. And yoga and exercise, like, and it could be in any form, like just, we don't even have to use the word exercise if it makes you feel uncomfortable. Moving your body in loving, fun, awesome ways to get you sweaty, to get you your blood flowing, and just to feel your feel good motions to be pumping. It's so important. That is one thing I haven't been doing as much either, is just getting sweaty. And it's just, again, rebalancing, trying to fit it in. And at the same time, not beating ourselves up for not doing better. It's doing the best you can. And then every day, waking up and trying again, doing the best you can. And the more you beat yourself up about it, the less likely you are to get better. Or you might get better, but it's out of like this hatred towards it instead of a loving way. I remember a time where I loved working out. It made me feel good. But I then got this frustration towards working out because I worked out and I busted my butt and not a pound lost. Actually, I gained, and it wasn't muscle either, guys. So anyways, long story. But anyways, so it's rebuilding a loving relationship for things. It's not about forcing your way to do something because you know it's good for you. It's about building on it and continually finding a love for whatever it is that you want to incorporate in your life and whatever is going to help build you up. So any symptoms might be lessened, even like soreness for PMSing, right? That's a big one for me that I've had lately too, is soreness. I've been more mindful of giving myself a nice warm bath with essential oils and things like that. So just taking care of yourself on different levels, and everybody's self-care looks different. Like for me, I love having meditation and yoga and bubble baths. And I do personally want to get back to the spa again. That's something I miss big time. And going for walks and getting my blood pumping and getting all sweaty. But a new one I'm picking up is actually stand-up paddleboarding. So that's going to be fun. So, it includes a couple of my favorite things, water and then just movement of the body. And then I can actually do meditation and yoga on it later too. Anyways, yes. So back to self-care. Self-care and self-love is a big thing to help you when you're overcoming PMS symptoms. However, I am not a doctor. So this is just my personal experience. And it's really incredible though. I had it severely, huge. And then I took care of me and it was gone, magically gone. I ate better. I slept better. Maybe not sleeping better because in my 20s, I was out a lot late still, but maybe I was sleeping better. I'd have to look back at that. Anyways, sleeping better, eating better, working out so much more for me. Personally, it was all about me, my workout time. It wasn't about going for somebody else or any of that. And actually at that point, it wasn't even for weight loss. It was just to feel better. I was getting out my emotions out on the gym floor, taking it out. And just time to slow down and meditate and journal. I think journaling came back in at that point too. And just taking time for me. I stopped doing things just because other people wanted me to, and I started doing things for me. And it was a really beautiful time. And then I kind of dropped the ball this past year. Okay, I didn't drop the ball. Life happened. And, I'm still juggling those balls and finding that balance to come back. And so is my PMS symptoms though. So if you find you have severe symptoms, like obviously if you're working with a doctor, you have your own things going on, definitely continue doing that. This advice is not to take away from any of that. However, I personally think if you're struggling with that, or you're just so sick of blowing up and getting just taking somebody's head off around your period, look into maybe taking care of you more. And maybe it's not all month long. Maybe you can just try and do it the week before. I personally think though, as I'm saying that, it's a balance of doing it over the month so then it doesn't get to a week, to the week up before. However, if all you can do is take time for you that week, then do it. You got to do what works for you. So what I found is, putting you first helps lessen your PMS symptoms. So if you're struggling in that area, or you just find that your temper's been, somebody pokes you or your kids say something and you're like all of a sudden biting their head off. It might not even be before your period. Maybe that time of year or that time is over for you, whatever it is, but you feel like your temper is still rising and you're not as patient as you used to be. Start looking within more. Take that time for you. One of the big things I always suggest people, if they're not taking time, is schedule a date night with yourself, or a date day, a date hour. It doesn't have to be long, but a date something with yourself to kind of rebuild up that relationship. I know for me in September, I'm gonna have both kids in school, so yay me. Or actually by the end of September, because it's slow here getting kindergarten started. However, I am gonna be every week, I'm going to take time for me, and it's going to be like an outing, most likely, a hike, a walk, anything, something for me. And then obviously all the relationships in my life are going to be more nourished as well, because I've been taking care of myself. So I'm going to have more to give. And then I will have that energy to go out on dates with my husband or have those date days again as well. So it's going to be a snowball effect. When you take care of you, you're more calm. You're more loving towards yourself and towards others. And it's this beautiful, beautiful effect outward. And then you can take care of other people better. You can just be more calm and loving and supportive as well. And if you haven't been in that area, again, no judgment, because I too am here with you in the trenches of figuring things out and finding your feet again. I feel like, it's like rebuilding a roadmap almost, or, which way am I going to go, and how am I going to rebuild that loving relationship with myself, the deeper loving relationship. And I know for me, I have all these tools in my tool chest. So as I, chat with you on this podcast, I'm hoping to, share some of those things with you. But a big one is just looking inward. And oh, yes, I was going to say about self-care. I think I rambled off there for a minute, guys. Sorry. Or ladies. Self-care is a personal thing. I remember when I started becoming an empowerment coach, I was all about self-care, and you need all this self-care. And I actually was going to put a quiz together thinking did you do this, and this every month, and all this stuff. And the funny thing is, now that I've been doing it for over it will be almost 5 years, I've realized that everybody needs different things. We're all unique. Your self-care bucket or compartments of buckets are going to look a lot different than mine, and that's okay. So I could list off everything you could do for self-care, but I'm not. If you need ideas, though, you can Google self-care, and there's a million things out there of people that put self-care together. And I've actually put one together, and it's a tree of 8 different compartments. It's a branch. And actually, I feel like I've talked about this actually in one of my podcasts already. So I apologize apologize if I'm repeating myself. But anyway, so everybody has unique things. So it's just focusing on every area of your life and making sure that you're taking care of you. Social. That was one that not many people talk about in self-care. Now, I feel like now after this past year or so, or year and a half, whatever, people are finally realizing that social activities are very, very important. But I've been knowing, like, that's been on my tree for a very long time, where it's every area. It's not just bubble baths and spas and massages and, getting your hair cut, or, like, it's not all personal care grooming things. That's part of it to make you feel good. But it's taking care of you on different levels, like food-wise and spiritual and your mind and just every area of it. So again, if you're like, yeah, I want more self-care in my life, I want to stop biting people's heads off, I highly recommend just searching self-care activities and do what feels right to you. And I know I've mentioned this before, but sleep is super, super important. I don't know who you are, like anybody that doesn't need sleep. I feel like that's a main thing that we all could use enough or more of, maybe, and that we don't focus on enough. So that's a big one as well. So if you're having severe PMS symptoms, I suggest that's where you start, is sleep, if you really need an answer. And then maybe search other self-care activities, and you'll have a whole list of them, and just do what feels good to you. I hope that helps if anybody has severe PMS symptoms. And just remember, when you have them, it's like putting yourself second. So it's just a gentle, loving reminder to take more care of you. Spend some more time nourishing you. That's all that means. No beating up. No, grr, I did that again. It's like, no, okay, cool. Here I am again. Let's take more care of me. That's all it is. A gentle, loving reminder to take more care of you. And P.S., I'm there too with you. Like, as I am recording this, I just spent the other day getting a little bit of argue with my husband over nothing, because I too wasn't putting myself first. So what did I do? I said, guys, like I said it to my husband and my kids, and I think my kids were outside playing, and I just told my husband I'm going to go have a bath. And actually before that, I went up into my meditation pillow and just sat there and just was calm and peaceful. I knew I needed time by myself. So I took that, then I had supper with my kids and my husband, and then I went and had a bath because I needed more. I knew I needed more time with myself. I knew at that moment, all my growliness, I was like super prickly, like super, super prickly. I was like, you know what? I'm not benefiting anybody here, not even myself. So I took myself out to a different location, aka our bedroom, my bedroom, and took some time for me. It can be that simple. Just realizing you had a moment or two or three, and excuse yourself from the situation and take some time for you. Whatever that could be. It could be a little walk, whatever it is for you. Anyways, so if you have been putting yourself second, it's time to put yourself first. Give yourself an extra dose of love, an extra dose of care, and to see how this next month goes for you. And I would always love to hear how this goes for you as well. So you can always reach out to me and email me or message me on my website. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.